think sometimes you don't need to ask questions like how's the workplace, that kind of thing. You can ask questions like, what interesting things are you doing recently? Like, it doesn't have to be about work. It could be like, hey, I like your shirt. Or like, it's the same colour. You know, that kind of things where like,
it's not casual.
Yeah, people remember you about, oh, my conversation was interesting with this person.
Hey everyone, on this episode of 𝙤𝙊𝙾𝙧𝙊, the topic is about the unspoken rules of networking. I hope it can help students out there who are new to the art of networking, and as an introvert myself, I understand the struggles because I've also been there. Trust me, it gets easier with experience, and confidence can definitely be built over time. If you're enjoying the content and want to support us, hit the subscribe button and follow us on Spotify and Instagram. Thank you so much, and now let's dive into the episode.
And I would say also, although they say that you don't need to stress about so much, but it's good to have a goal in mind, like a overarching goal. So my suggestion is that maybe you can go on LinkedIn to just look at people. So like you maybe like, oh, this person actually have very similar interests as me, and then you're like, maybe one day I want to be there, maybe I'm looking at this role, maybe next time I want to be this position. But this could be like after you graduate, like I don't know, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, like I'm aiming for this in 20 years or 10 years. Although it sounds so like hard to reach there, you can't like imagine it. But I think it helps in the sense that it guides your every decision. I can share my own experience because so I studied communication in media, right? Then I didn't really use LinkedIn much in year 1, year 2 lah. Then I only started using it more in year 3, I would think. Yeah, and then so that's when like sometimes I get bored. I go on to like look at people. Just like look at people's
social media
profile. I look at people's profile, then like, wow, this lady is quite cool, you know. Like maybe doing some head of communications or like chief communications officer, that kind of stuff. Like that's quite interesting. Thinking like, how do I get there? So it guides my every decision, I would say, in school also. So for example, if let's say after NUS Overseas College, I was quite interested in startups, like the ecosystem, and like because I'm mainly doing public relations. So I say like, okay, then maybe I should go for more events, because events is a major part of public relations. So it helped me like when I look through my emails and then I get invitations to events. You know, I can choose not to go, but I was like, why not just go and like, who knows? I might meet someone there, right? So I signed up for it, and interesting enough, I met my future supervisor there. So she was the one hosting the fireside chat talk. It's quite interesting because she was talking about China region, the startup environment there, and like how Singapore and China can work together, that kind of thing. And I was also very interested between like the collaboration between China and Singapore. So I was like, oh, interesting, I can ask her some questions afterwards. Because you know, sometimes in Q&A, some people are very shy, they don't want to like speak out, ask questions. So I was like, okay, I'll just do it.
Nice.
Yeah, because I feel like when you have that goal in the back of your head, right, like one day I want to be somewhere, then it encourages you to make some decisions along the way, I would say. Yeah, and so I talked to her more after the fireside chat, and that's when we got to know each other, and then she's like, oh, send me your resume. Yeah, and that's how I landed the internship. So I would say, although we say that like, you don't need to stress out too much, but I feel like it's good to have some kind of goal in mind so that it guides your every decision, because a lot of times to reach a goal, it's made out of many, many small decisions, and it just compounds over time and accumulates. And learn from everything.
Yeah, I think one thing that I said is you never know what might happen. So really just go and like try something new, you know, put yourself out there. And I think meeting new people and networking is very important. Not in the sense of like being very pretentious, but just going for any kind of events, joining like if you're staying in a student accommodation, going for other events. It also helps to meet all of these other students. Some of them are going to be in certain internships in companies that you want to be in, or you know, you may end up like working together on some kind of project as co-founders. You really never know. Do you have any tips on like how to like for example network at such professional events?
Yeah, so I was thinking when you mentioned that, right? So basically events, I don't really go with an objective in mind. I didn't went there like I'm gonna get internship. I didn't go with that mindset. I went there thinking like I want to learn more from this person who has much more experience than me, and she's doing something that I'm very interested in. So you need to go there with a I'm like giving mindset rather than taking something. Yeah, so you need, and some people, I mean, they are already holding like higher positions, right? So it's like, why would you think they would want to like I would say service you,
Correct.
that kind of thing. So as someone that is like an undergraduate student that is looking for such opportunities, I think you need to prepare yourself. Like I would read up what is the speaker talking about today, and then I'll read out what interests me in this like fireside chat, this panel, and then I would prepare myself. Oh, these are the questions that I want to ask her because I just want to know more. Because you don't know what you don't know. Yeah, so I just want to see like as someone who has so much more experience, what kind of like wisdom I can like learn from her, you know. And I think through that process, it also helps the person, like the higher up person, to understand that actually I can impart this wisdom to someone.
Yeah.
And
It makes people feel good.
it does. It does.
Do you not feel good sharing this kind of wisdom to juniors?
Yeah, so I think that's very important. Like the attitude, I would say, the kind of tone talking to someone. You don't go there being like, oh, I'm looking for an internship. I want to intern at a company. I feel like it's more of like you need to think about what you can give first to the company. Like what kind of skills you have up to this point. You feel like you can contribute in any way. Even if you don't have the enough skills to contribute like that much, like think about what you can contribute right now in terms of like the smallest tasks in the company. What kind of things you can help them, you know, take some small tasks out of their plate. Because they have a lot to work on and care about.
Yeah.
I think there's one more thing also, which there is this very common misconception that if you're going to an event or if you're going to network, you need to be the center or you need to be the one talking to as many people as possible. I think all of us have very different personalities, we have very different ways of thinking, and very different ways of approaching people. I tend to be a bit more, I would say, laid back or a bit more shy in terms of approaching new people. It's something that I had to slowly crack it open, gain the confidence to reach out to people and be like, this is me. So if you're just beginning your networking journey, you don't need to meet every single person there. Maybe just the neighbor next to you or like the one or two people that you found the most interesting from the event. Just reach out, have a short conversation. Maybe showcase who you are as a person for them to feel the relatability. Because if you're asking the same questions, what made you stay at this company? What made you join this company? How has your experience been? Where do you see yourself? Blah, blah, blah. All of these are questions that you would have heard from many different people. If you really want to stand out, find a way to personalize it to yourself. Something that's very personal to me is, or something that I like to understand from them is, what have they seen from people in my position that really stood out to them, that they really liked, that they felt served these junior members well. Because that's a stage that I'm in. I'm not at the director stage, I'm not at the manager stage. I don't need to, at this current juncture, know how they're performing at the place. What I need to know is, when they were in my shoes or when they've seen people in my shoes, what has served them well. I think that level of slightly more depth in the question to know that this person is really looking to improve themselves creates that level of relatability and that the willingness to assist just that little bit more. Of course, there's a lot more things that you need to do to gain the trust of people because their time is valuable. They're not going to offer things up to you on a silver platter. But that is like the beginning of it in that sense, to be able to know that the questions that they're asking is not just to quote-unquote leave an impression, but it's really because they're trying to learn here, which is something that you mentioned. If you have questions that you want to ask people, it's very, very important. And I think it's one of the better ways to approach a networking event because you relate it back to yourself.
So besides just networking to learn more, right? There are some people who online they preach about networking to get referrals into companies. Have you guys ever tried that personally, and has that ever helped you, like getting referrals?
I won't say it's networking. So I managed to land an interview with I can't remember was it Shopee or TikTok, one of them. Yeah, and this was through a ex-colleague. So it was one of the ex-colleagues that I really was closer to and all. And funnily enough, how it happened was that the recruiters were reaching out to him because they wanted his skills. And then he was like, hey, I know somebody who's somewhat similar, just that he's a fresh grad. Will you all be interested? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, just send it to me. And then that's how I got the referrals and got the interviews from there. So yeah, I won't say networking, but like aside from networking, because that's like going out to reach out to new people and all, but within your own current social circle and all, there are also people that you can deepen your connections with and value them at a higher level, and then of course maintain a relationship with these people. And this is also in a sense networking, by maintaining your current circle as well. So if you do not know how to really go and socialize and network with other people, maybe start from your own social circle. Start from the people around you, and then you branch out from there, and then you slowly realize that actually it's not that difficult. You know what really connects you with the people around you. You already know, like you already have connection, and you know what forms that connection, right? Then now you just have to extend it further. Yeah, so that's how I approach networking as an introvert.
That's very interesting because like there's this stereotype that computing students don't really like to network or like don't know how to network. Yeah, so I think I really like the advice where like you deepen your connections, existing connections. Because some people they are shy. I mean, I was also very shy at the time. I would say like year 1, year 2, never network at all. Just like keeping to like my own social circle, that kind of thing. Never been to like very professional industry events and stuff. Because it's scary, the thought of like going alone as well, like not knowing anyone, and you have to start a conversation, that kind of thing. But I like his advice about like asking questions, because I think sometimes you don't need to ask questions like how's the workplace, that kind of thing. You can ask questions like what interesting things are you doing recently? Like it doesn't have to be about work. It could be like, hey, I like your shirt. Or like the same colour. That kind of things where like
it's not casual.
Yeah, people remember you about, oh, my conversation was interesting with this person.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm just like talking about work. And it's like think of interesting ways to spark a conversation. And like for example, within your social circle, it's like think of ways that you can maintain the relationship. Like maybe going out for lunch, that kind of stuff.
On the next episode of dotspot, we'll be talking about dealing with rejections.
As you guys were talking, I actually had an epiphany, a great analogy. I think finding a career, like a long-term career path, is actually very similar to like finding a partner, like either front-end or consulting or whatnot. But then that's why you go around and, I mean, not go around, but like, you like...
Find out what you like and what you don't like.
Pause.
Wait, pause.
As many internships as you can.
Pause.
Wait, I didn't say that.
Go around with companies, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for tuning into this episode, and see you on the next episode of
Connecting the Dots. Okay, we need to do that again. Like after you ask that question, then we'll cut this. Okay, 3, 2, 1, sing.
Thailand.
Say Singapore.
Oh, Singapore.
Yeah. Then maybe we will get sponsored.
You're talking about countries
No, then maybe the next episode will be sponsored by Singapore Tourism Board. Then we'll all get such a rich. That's crazy. Okay.
Favorite country to travel to?
Singapore!